time for a wrap-up. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be doing a November wrap-up, a late November wrap-up. I have just been salivating over one of these books for the past, probably week and a half since I finished it, and you'll know which one it is when I get to it. But yeah, stayed pretty true to my November TBR. There's only $3, but I finished them. So I will show them to you. If you're intrigued with any of them, we'll have them linked down below. If you want to check them out, also down below is the podcast. Danielle's channel's down there. She just broke the 700 plateau. She's getting close to 1,000. Subscribe. And yeah, everything else is down below. Goodreads, all that fun stuff. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into my wrap-up. Alright, first up, I'm going to do this in order of which I read them, so excuse me if I don't remember a whole lot off the hand of the first book. But I have Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. So this book is beefy, and I finally finished it. This was a recommendation from somebody at Barnes & Noble way back when. You guys have also recommended this book a few times because of The Stand, and I could see the similarities. This book is about you're following a lot of people, just like you do in The Stand. I say that is one of the quarrels I have with the book, is a lot of people. There's another thing that I will mention in a minute here. But basically what happens is there's this thing going around where you're a sleepwalker. And basically what that means is you literally just walk. And it's like you don't have control of yourself. You're basically asleep, but like your eyes are open. And you're just walking. And then there's the other group, which is called shepherds. They're like relatives of the people who are walking and what have you and everything like that. The issue that really takes place with the walking people, which this is not really a super spoiler because it happens pretty early on in the book. If you are stopped from walking, like you hold somebody, they literally throw a tantrum and they basically like fucking combust. Like they blow up. Like it's crazy. Like when there's only 3 of them at the beginning, one of them gets put in a cop car and like just explodes. So there's this like war situation going on in the background thing. The main girl we're kind of following is Shauna, I think her name is Shana. And her sister is like the first like person we see walking. And there's a lot more things going on in this book. There's like this retired rock star, or like he's like a failing rock star. He's like not doing well. There's a preacher, or a minister, a pastor, whatever. There's all these different characters. The other beef I have with this book, so where I would say there's another similarity with It, that scene at the end of It, we all know it. There is like this weird scene in this when this dude has his way with the priest, and it's so like cringy to hear, and it's just like I really didn't like that. I still gave this book 5 stars. I still really enjoyed the story. It's still it's basically like The Stand, and there's a sequel to this book. It's called Wayward. It came out this past November. I do have it, and I do have the intent to read it because I did really enjoy this book. I want to know what happens. There wasn't really a whole lot I really hated. Like I said, it was just those 2 things. There's just a lot of people, which is, I would say, probably one of my weak points, is like, if a book has got more than like 5 or 10 people who I'm trying to keep track of, I'm just like, okay, who am I following? But otherwise, very good book. It's just a really nice book, and I really want to read the sequel. So I know there's another good book by Chuck Wendig. It's kind of another beefier one, but I can't remember what it's called. So we'll just forget about that.
It's like the haunted house one.
Yeah, the haunted house book. I can't think of the name of it. I'm sure one of you guys would probably say it and be like, oh, don't you know that? Okay, so, but yeah, Wanderers, 5 stars. First book I read in November. Very good book. Would highly recommend. All right, next up is actually probably the least favorite one I read this month. I gave it like 3 stars. Danielle and I did this as a buddy read. I think she might have given it 4. Or maybe she did 3 as well. I don't
Four
think
and a half.
4. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I guess I didn't like it and she liked it. Runtime, Catherine Ryan Howard. So, I think when I first read this, I think I did do 3 stars. I honestly don't remember. This book to me was not nearly as good as The Nothing Man, also by Catherine Ryan Howard. I thought that book was really good. This book, we're following a girl named Adele. She's like a struggling, I think it was a soap opera actress or TV actress or something like that. And she gets this job as an actress on, I think it's a movie. And it's like a really weird Inception thing. It's like what happens in the movie, there's like something happening in the movie that takes place
in the script.
Like, oh my god, like Danielle described this to me and I didn't even know she was speaking English. So in the movie, things are happening in the movie that are happening within the script that they have for another movie they're trying to film in the movie, and also in the movie, and then it's happening in the book. It's like 3 weird things are like going on, and it confused the hell out of me when she said it, but when you read the book, it like makes sense. Like, I just can't phrase this correctly. Like, the film they're filming is like a film where something is happening to them in real life, the movie, that's happening in like a script they have. But then also the script for the movie that they are filming to film of the movie is also happening to them in real life. It's weird. It's like Inception. It's like Movieception. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, Adele's like, she's been having some issues with like some of the cast, and like she has this weird like, she's struggling. That's the main focal point of what I am trying to get across. She's struggling, and she gets this job, and she's like the only girl in the cast, and there was another girl who was before her, and she got like replaced or by her, and all this weird stuff happens. There's like, I don't know. It just seemed like a story that kept kind of dragging along. It's not nearly as big as the other 2 books, but it's still decently big. I don't know. I just didn't really like it as much as I enjoyed The Nothing Man. The Nothing Man I thought was just phenomenal. But this book, to me, it just really didn't click for me. And I would say it's probably just because of the confusion of like the 4 different things happening within the same thing happening of the same thing. That makes sense. So yeah, I think I'm going to settle on 3, maybe 3.5. The conclusion of the book with the plot twist I did think was pretty solid and was good. But I don't know. There's just a lot in here that I thought really didn't seem to be necessary. There's like a part where like she's the only one on the site for like almost 300 pages, and it's just like, this could be dwindled down, like for sure. But it is what it is. Danielle gave it 4.5. That's why books are great. Everyone has different opinions. So, there you have Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. Okay, so this next one is... I'm still speechless about this book. This is the book that I mentioned at the beginning, where this book has just been on my mind since I finished it. It's been, like, literally, like... I literally finished this the last day of November. It was... on the TBR. I really almost had no intent of actually reading this book. Danielle and I actually agreed, like, all right, we'll just save it for next year. And then we just pulled it out of our ass, and, like, we finished it.
Well, because you wanted to post a video about it on 11/22.
Yes, the original plan... Okay, so the book is 11/22/63, now that she revealed the date.
Sorry.
And the game plan I had was to read this, have a reading vlog, and post it on 11/22. Then things happened at home, obviously, as we've explained in the reading vlog for this. We basically died for a little while. And, yeah, we went MIA for a little bit. But, again, we're back. And this book is... It's like a 10 out of 5. It's... I did a whole reading vlog on this. We'll put it up here, or we'll link it down below. Check out the reading vlog. You'll get to witness the experience I had time for time, and also it was like a birthday reading vlog thing too. So, it's actually where I got this shirt. But this book is so good. I was so reluctant. I was so hesitant to read this book because it was a historical nonfiction romance type book with some time travel. And everyone kept saying this was probably the biggest book that everybody told me to read. Like, everybody wanted me to read this book. And now that I have, I can't stop thinking about this book. It is so good. If you don't know what this is, let me get into that now that we're 5 minutes into this clip. Jake Epping is somebody from, I want to say in the book it's 2011, but the movie it's like 2016. Yeah, this is 2011. And what happens is one of his friends that owns a diner, Al, has this weird like portal in his like closet where his like food is storage is for the diner. And what happens is you go in there and like you transport to the 1950s. You go to 1958. There is an It reference that's within the first like 200 pages of this book, and it's really cool. A lot of people think Jake Epping as a character was just kind of dull, and I honestly got that vibe too, but the thing I want to say about that is I think it was just meant to be like, he's just your average Joe, like everyday dude, and he gets thrown into the situation, and it's like, yeah, this is what happened. This book is absolutely phenomenal. We are in December, so you're going to be getting the top 10 of the year videos coming out soon. This is going to be a reoccurring book. I'm telling you guys that right now, so be ready for it. Because I also need to redo like my Stephen King top 10, even though I just did that for October. So, yes, this is a top 10 favorite Stephen King book of all time. I am currently watching the miniseries, and I really need to finish the series. I also didn't finish describing the book. Al sends him back and like, stop the JFK assassination, but you gotta live in the past for a while. And that's what happens. And this is probably the best romance book that Stephen King has ever written. And apparently the thing I heard, the ending he originally wrote was altered. And Joe Hill, I think, was the one who told him to put the actual ending of this book in this book. Like, the actual ending was just like a typical, honestly, it was like an actual Stephen King ending, where like it would have sucked. And then Joe Hill was like, no. You can't end the book like this. And so he fixed it. And this ending is sad. And by what I hear with the TV series, it's sad. I mean, obviously, because it's the same thing. But this has got potential to be not just like my favorite book of the year, but like possibly my favorite book of all time. Like, it is like, all right, I need to stop talking about this book. Okay, so, yeah, very good book. 11/22/63, like 20 stars out of 5. So, 11/22/63. All right, so that was my late November wrap up. Sorry I kept ranting about the last book. I just love it so much. Yeah, let me know what you read in the month of November down below, or what you've already started in December, since we're already a week into December. And if you've read any of these 3 books, let me know your thoughts, spoiler free. Again, I had a whole reading vlog with 11/22/63, so if you want to check that out, we'll have a link down below, or we posted it up at some point. So check that out. Podcast, we're going to get back on track with that. We got Bookstagram, all that fun stuff. Danielle's channel, Bailey's our dog. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Later.